Okay.
Oh, I'm still pouring myself my whiskey.
No, Hunter, we have to start now. No, I'm just...
Oh, no! We just conquered the Pokémon World Championship, and now it's time to recover and have a chat. With me today, I have Bug Catcher Teresa.
Bug Catcher? I thought I was the world champion. Masters Division.
And Island Kahuna Gerardo.
Greetings and Alola.
Alola. And me, I am Hunter, and I am also here. So we just had an influx of Pokemon news this past week or so. Week and some change. We had the Pokémon Presents, which we unfortunately weren't able to record anything fast enough to release the episode last week. But then also, just following that, we had the Pokémon World Championships, which did have a few reveals for specifically the Wave 2 of the Scarlet and Violet DLC, which is kind of cool. Mainly kind of competitive Pokemon-focused stuff, but also some other interesting things in there as well. I know that both of you guys watched the Pokémon Presents, and I know, Teresa, you watched the Pokémon World Championship thing? Is that right?
No. I saw the finals of Masters, but that was pretty much it. I didn't watch anything more than that.
Gerardo, I'm assuming you didn't watch the live games, but did you see the announcement that happened? The announcement trailer?
No, I might have passed over a couple of them when reading news headlines, but
okay.
No.
Well, we're gonna go through each of the trailers today. Actually, starting with the Pokemon Presents, so we can just jump right into it. There was some news for Pokemon Sleep. Teresa, you used Pokemon Sleep for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Or at least tried it out.
Yeah, I played Pokemon Sleep for about 2 days, and I felt that the way that you have to keep the phone app open while you slept kind of bothered me, and the second day that I woke up using the app, my phone was just like an inferno, and so I was like, I'm not doing that again. Neat idea, poor execution on the usage of the app itself. If you have the Pokemon Go Plus, it's probably a better experience overall, but I don't know, it's a cute app. I'll give it that. It makes you excited to wake up in the morning, as they said in the Pokemon Presents.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of cool how they're doing some events. Like there's a full moon event or something like that. Pokemon Cafe Remix has Tatsugiri sushi. There's some cool stuff in there, I guess. But for the most part, I think that we mainly care about 3 particular things. Namely, I know that we're all pretty hyped about Detective Pikachu Returns. I don't know. I'm hyped for it. I know, Teresa, you're also hyped for it. Yeah.
I was saying, it's super cool looking. It has a very polished, neat look, which Game Freak is not known for.
Interesting take. I extremely disagree with that last part. The polishedness.
It looks cool. It looks like a 3DS game, sure. But that's because the first one was a 3DS game. It looks very fun. I like Pikachu in Detective Pikachu, and I just like his character a lot. So
if I had to guess, I am pretty sure they're using the same engine, the same core project framework as the original game, which is probably why it looks like a 3DS game on the Switch. In which case, I don't know why they didn't just port the original Switch also, just to help with the hype cycle or something, because this is coming out in 2 months. It's coming out October 6th.
Visually, I don't think this one looks very good. But
Pokemon fans are.
I respect your opinion on it. You know that's great that you want to play it. So
you know what? That's probably why I think it looks good, because I'm a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, we're used to these subpar visuals.
Yeah, I just when I played the demo for the first one, I just found it too easy. They presented me with a case, and I was like, oh well, it's probably a Murkrow, and then the game proceeded to make me do objective after objective to find out what Pokemon was the culprit, even though I already knew who it was, and it turned out to be a Murkrow, and I was just like, all right.
To be fair, that was the kind of intro mission. That was the demo. So
Good point.
It's supposed to be a little bit easier. Also, it's a kids game. It's a kids. It's basically if Pokemon were Phoenix Wright, if Phoenix Wright were a Pokemon game, and except like maybe even a little bit easier than that, So you gotta cut it some slack, I think. But yeah, it looks cute.
I acknowledge that I may be too harsh on it, but that's all I'll say.
The problem is that we're all in our late 20s, heading into our 30s, and we're just like not as interested in kid games, I think, which I think is a large part of the reason why Pokemon fans in general have been really disappointed by the main series in the past, ever, really. Post Black and White, I would say. Even Black and White had its haters when it first came out. That's just how Pokemon fans are, I think. We're just getting older. Playing some kids games. And
always have been, always will be.
Oh, always have been, always will be. But in any event, we also had some news regarding the Pokemon trading card game and Pokemon Stadium 2. I know, Gerardo, you just played through the first Pokemon Stadium on NSO.
I have the cartridge for Stadium 2 for the N64, but I have not played it yet. That being said, I think it's cool that they're bringing it to NSO so that, people can play it.
Are you going to play it on NSO or are you going to play it on the N64?
That's a good question. I haven't decided.
I never played Stadium 2. If I ever have the time, it's a lot more accessible to me now because we all have the NSO online expansion pack or whatever, and so we all have the ability to play it now. So yeah, this would be, I guess, my chance to play it for the first time. Trading card game is really cool. I have it on the 3DS, but I've started trading card game, but I never finished it, and I feel like I didn't fully understand the mechanics. Now that I'm a bit older, I'm curious to see how well I can pick up on what's actually happening.
Still a pretty confusing game. I'll give it that. Because the mechanics, I think you were going to say, are based off of the mechanics are still based off of the first set ever introduced.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff has changed since then. But it's a great way of learning the basics of TCG. I think it still has the fundamentals of current stuff, I believe.
Yeah, it seems like a heavily doctored version of the original TCG rules, alongside some of their other stuff. I know the way that they handle energies and stuff is a little bit different. There's no such thing as prize cards and stuff like that, so it's a little bit different. The way that the bench is handled is also different. So I feel like I wasn't able to fully wrap my head around it, and so with it being on NSO and the ability to go back in case I didn't fully understand what I just did, and being able to go back a turn with the save state system, I think would really help me in the early game to figure out what I'm even doing at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always really liked the art because it's based on the original cards, but it has that stippled kind of what's called dithering styled art, which I just really like dithered art, and so it's really cool. I really like it.
I wonder if they also had a sequel to Trading Card Game. I wonder if that'll eventually come.
I mean, Stadium 2 came, so anything is on the table right now.
I'm really glad we're getting the Trading Card Game one. I've been waiting for them to put that on NSO for I want to say over a year now. I had been meaning to buy this game, but I kept it in the back of my mind maybe they'll bring it to NSO if I just wait for it. And that way I can focus on buying other games. So now that it's there, now I can play it. So my plan has come to fruition.
You've willed it into existence.
Now long
last. That and Fire Emblem, that was another one.
To segue from Fire Emblem onto an amazing segue that I'm making for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we have some brand new news. Kind of. We have some news, and some of it is newish. We have, I guess, a Mew and Mewtwo event happening. You can get Mew if you want. You can use the code GETYOURMEW. The O in your is 0. And then you can battle Mewtwo in some Terra Raid battles. So there you go. But really, everyone cares about the new DLC details. We have probably mainly just a bunch of cutscene footage, so they're probably spoiling some cutscenes for us. Probably the intro sequence of the game. of the DLC. But yeah, we have mainly a bunch of info on the teal mask. Mainly that we are in the Kitakami region, which I think is based on either southern or northern Japan. It's really hard to figure out where exactly this is supposed to be based on, but if I had to guess, it's probably one of the more rural parts of Japan, more agrarian parts of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 sibling academy students, Carmine and Kieran. I have no idea what role they're supposed to be playing, but I really like their designs.
They seem the rival equivalent.
Yeah, that's probably fair. It's like we have 2 rivals, kind of, something like that.
Then alongside this information of them, we have the introduction of a new Pokemon, a new evolution for Applin, which would be Diplin, or as the community, the Pokemon community, has so lovingly dubbed Driplin. It's still quite the tasty looking apple.
He's a dipped apple.
He's a dipped caramel apple.
He's like a caramel apple. Love it.
I
almost want to buy the DLC just to use that one.
Everyone's hating on Diplin, but I love him. He's so cool to me.
I love him.
Yeah.
I loved Applin and all of its whole evolutionary line. I loved it. Those were some of my favorite Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Yeah. And this one just looks honestly even better for me.
Freaking love Diplin. Look at him. Look at his stupid little eyes. Look at his little stick coming out of him. Makes no sense. He's got a stick coming out of him. He's a dipped apple. It's like a candy apple. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and then additionally, we got a bit more of a proper introduction to the legendary Pokemon. They are, but like...
it's the legendary trio of this game.
The legendary trio, Okidoki, Monkidori, and Pheasantipity, and then a little peek at the teal mask Pokemon, as it were.
Yeah, so...
I'm gonna be honest, those 3 legendaries, I kind of like hate their designs.
I think that they look goofy, just goofy enough for me to love them.
I like them all. I like their names more than them, but they're still pretty good.
So yeah, we got a little bit of info on the Indigo Disc. There's a new league, the BB League, I guess. I don't know if that stands for anything.
It's like a secondary Elite Four.
Yeah, it's just their own Pokemon League, basically, with their own Elite Four. I don't know if the BB stands for Blueberry, probably. Oh, duh. I'm just figuring this out now. Okay, yeah. Real-time reaction. Probably Blueberry League.
Real-time reaction.
The BB League. Yeah, pretty cool. I like the Elite Four designs. I think that they all look pretty cool. Maybe some of them are a little bit more interesting than others. Some of them are kind of boring, but I think that they're all... Like, I would want to wear outfits like that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and then alongside of that, we got the evolution of Duraludon in that.
Oh, I love it. So this one actually gives me mixed feelings because I actually love Duraludon's design. And if this is an evolution, I don't remember if they confirmed if it's an evolution or just like an alternate form of it.
It is. It is an evolution.
An evolution. I almost don't want it to evolve and change into the new design, even though I love the new design as well. It's kind of, but I do like it. It's a drawbridge. Skyscraper to drawbridge. I think that's
like a skyscraper / railgun or something.
And then think about it this way. Just think about it this way, Gerardo. If you like Duraludon's design so much, just give it the Eviolite item, and suddenly it's even more defensive than it was before. Now that it evolves.
True, I have done that before.
So that was basically it for the Pokemon Presents. We didn't get a whole lot of new news, actually. But we did get quite a bit of new information during the Pokemon World Championships for, I think, stuff that's all going to be introduced in the Indigo Disc. Yeah, and we forgot to mention, actually, there was 2 new legendaries that were announced, which actually we can also just go over during this as well, because it's all kind of the same reaction anyways.
So, yeah, we had the Paradox form of Raikou called Raging Bolt. It is an electric dragon type, which is cool. I like electric dragon. The only other one that I can think of is Zekrom.
Yes.
Which is neat. That's a very unique typing. Then there's the move it comes with its signature move, I'm presuming, called Thunderclap, which is a move that strikes before the opponent's attack, which is another priority move, which makes me think that it's a very slow Pokemon. And wouldn't you just look at its neck? It looks slow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It needs time to get around.
It's a giraffe guy.
Yeah.
So Raikou is a tiger, except the past version of him was a completely just different species of mammal entirely.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big giraffe. So there you go. Giraffes are my favorite animal, so I'm down. So yeah, he's a big angry giraffe.
Dragon somehow too.
The only thing I can think of is in Chinese mythology, or Chinese, like, because China was aware, like ancient China, like all the old, like thousands of year old dynasties and stuff, they were aware of Africa, and they knew what giraffes were. They actually imported some giraffes into China a few times, and they called them dragons, because that's probably the best word that they had for them.
Interesting.
They actually just thought that giraffes were dragons. So maybe that's the inspiration. That's maybe kind of a stretch, but I don't know.
Before.
Yeah, that's maybe kind of a stretch, I'll admit.
Oh, it's a stretch because it's long-necked, right?
But thank you. Yes, my joke had many layers to it.
Anyways,
go ahead.
Our second Paradox Pokemon is Iron Crown, which is Cobalion.
It kind of looks like those Stanford Robotics, like dog, deer things that kind of walk, like little robot things that you can like kick, and then they'll like regain their balance and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It looks exactly like one of those, like its torso or its body, I don't know, its body part, I guess, abdomen part of it. It looks exactly like something out of Stanford Robotics. So I think that's super cool. It's a robot. It's a robot deer.
And it has a signature move, Tachyon Cutter, which hits twice in a row.
It's basically just probably like the double slap equivalent.
But like 80 base power.
Oh, that's good. Wait, 80
probably.
Plus 80?
I bet, yeah, because it's
so
being used by... I'm just guessing.
Okay. It's 300 base power.
Just 300 base power plus Terra plus
the same type of attack bonus. And
yeah, it's nothing. It's a little tickle. It's fine.
It hits twice. Just destroys that Mimikyu.
Yeah. We also got news that one of the biomes in the Indigo Disc has all of the past starters in it, which Pokemon has very much become used to the trend of calling them partner Pokemon, first partner Pokemon.
Right.
And that's where they're all going to be. They're all going to be in this one biome, and if you have any starters from past generations that, unfortunately were cut in previous games, well, here they are.
It's interesting them calling them partner Pokemon, because for a long time, the Pokemon community as a whole has kind of applied names to certain aspects of Pokemon. Like the term shiny, for example, like up until this generation, I think, shiny has never once been mentioned. Like nobody within Pokemon Company and nobody within, like it's never once in any piece of Pokemon media has there been the term shiny, except for this generation. Now they finally have said shiny in the games officially. So that's the term for alternate colored Pokemon now, is shiny. That's the official term.
We did get in I believe one of the first gold and silver sets
shining
or shining Pokemon, but not shiny.
Yeah,
I think it was close enough.
It was close, but yeah. And so partner Pokemon, kind of the official terms for starters. So that's kind of like one of those few things that the community has kind of assigned a name to that hasn't been brought into the main series games. Because for the most part, Pokemon just kind of gone with whatever the fans call their things. But they're really adamant on partner Pokemon.
Yes, they are. And you know what else sounds good? Psychic Noise. It deals damage to opponents and prevents them from healing. Pretty nasty move. New move coming in Indigo Disc.
No Resto Chesto strategies anymore. All gone.
And along with that move, we also have Upper Hand, which is a priority move that strikes before other priority moves. So you got to be playing a lot of 2D chess in your head with your opponent
2D
without
chess?
moon. 3D chess?
I mean,
Mental
most
chess.
4D chess?
regular chess is 2D chess.
3D, 4D, 5D, virtual
8D.
reality chess, 8D.
D20.
Yeah. 4D chess, that's what it was. That's the saying.
Yeah, so there's already like 5 different tiers, I think 5 or 6 different tiers of priority moves. So like there's stuff like extreme speed, quick attack, which are like kind of the lowest tier of priority moves. But then there's stuff like sucker punch, which is above that, then fake out, which is above that. There's stuff like protect and stuff, which is the highest priority. So there's all these different tiers of priority moves. I have no idea. This just says strikes before the target's priority move. That means nothing to me, because in competitive Pokemon terms, like, what does that mean? There's so many different types of priority.
Does it go
Does
to
this mean-
protect?
Is it faster than protect? Who knows? So it's before a target's priority move. Period. That's it. That's all we got. This was announced during the Pokemon World Championship, which means that I just assumed that it would be more competitive Pokemon focused, and so it would get into the nitty gritty of those kind of mechanics. But I guess not. We'll just have to wait till it comes out, I guess, to figure out how upper hand works.
They don't want to give us the upper hand too early.
No, definitely not. Oh, it also
Wow.
causes flinch. It flinches? Oh, so it's like a fighting type.
Huh.
Yeah, it's probably like a fake out clone then, actually. It's probably the same priority as fake out, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because not everything can learn fake out.
Yeah, but now we have a fighting type version of it, which is good. Normal and fighting are basically the 2 best offensive types in competitive Pokemon, because there's so few types that resist them.
Mhm.
There's basically only Ghost, which is immune to normal, except Moldbreaker exists, and some like other stuff. And Rock resists normal, but that's it. And fighting actually has some strengths as well.
You
Like
could
it's
use
actually-
it against Dark, you could use it against Rock, you can use... That's about it.
Ice.
Ice. Oh yeah, Ice is going down anyway, it's fine.
So yeah, that was basically it, except for one last thing, which was something that actually Gerardo called a long time ago. Not a long time ago, a few episodes ago. You mentioned that you thought that the Indigo Disc Legendary, that turtle guy, might have the ability to be multi-type, every type at once in some kind of complicated way. And you were right. You called it, actually, kind of. You basically called it, because it has a new terrestrialization type, or element, except it's not an element, it's all elements. That's the terrestrialization, which is kind of cool.
I wonder how that works, because it just says effective on there. Like under the...
Yeah, I think it's weird, because it's like, when I try to think of more than 2 types, what comes to mind is Regigigas. And I just assume, like, okay, if a Pokemon was like every type, then I guess they just cancel each other out to normal type or something.
There are ways to get more than 2 types onto a Pokemon. So there's Trick or Treat, which could with Pumpkaboo, I think, has the Trick or Treat move, which gives the opponent or the recipient of the move the Ghost typing.
Mhm.
And then there's also Trevenant has, I forget what the move is called, but you can give any Pokemon Grass typing. So that would add on a 3rd typing to some Pokemon.
Oh, I thought those moves replaced the type of the enemy Pokemon.
No. It makes them also that type. So Charizard, for example, would become a fire flying grass or fire flying ghost.
This makes me wonder, if you took every type and you like did the math for it, I wonder what it would be like weak against.
Well,
like that amalgamation type.
Presumably that's how this turtle Pokemon works. Although I forget all the rules of terrestrialization. Terrestrialization replaces the existing type.
Right.
Yes.
But then also it changes the type, so it's move effectiveness is, or its effectiveness, the effectiveness of other Pokemon's moves onto it follows the new type's weakness and strengths. But I think same type attack bonus doesn't change. It's still the original 2 types, which kind of sucks for this Terrasilize effect. Although it wouldn't really matter if it's every type anyways, I guess. So that doesn't really change anything. Never mind. But yeah, it's interesting. Gerardo was right. Gerardo called it, dude. You called it.
Gerardo's never right about anything.
I don't even remember calling it.
You designed it. Don't be so modest.
Ken Sugimori personally listened to our episode where you predicted it, and he was like, "Oh, Gerardo-san had a good idea." Wow, that's super racist. I'm sorry. And then he took that idea and then ran with it. Now that we've recovered and had ourselves a little chat, what did you think?
Leave us a comment on YouTube and like the episode.
That really helps us out.
We're also on Twitter and Instagram at the Low HP Podcast if you want to reach out there.
And subscribe if you want to catch more of us on YouTube.
We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Links in the show notes as always.